Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip-hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7 on hot7025fm.com.
Yo, it's Tavon Greatness Patterson. Want to listen to Hot 7025 on the go? Download the Hot 702.5 app on the Apple Store or Google Play Store if you got an Android like me.
Let's get it.
Tune in now on hot7025fm.com.
Hi. Hey. What's up? All your favorite artists.
Check it out. Say my name. DJ Khaled. This is Mila J.
Bruno Mars. On hot7025fm.com.
Come on, B2B. What's up? What's the deal? Welcome to Let's Talk Love. I am your favorite prescriber, Miss Love Doctor. Definitely out here trying to push this love like weight. And this is where love meets beauty. And you already know my beautiful co-host, Beauty on the Beat, who is not in studio with us today, but I'm pretty sure she'll be tapping in at some point. It seems like every Wednesday I don't have a voice. I wonder why that is. But so thank y'all for tuning in to the hottest station on the planet. You know, we got a pretty dope hot team here at Hot 702.5. And I just hope y'all ready to talk love. But today is going to be a heavier topic about love because it is still Mental Health Awareness Month. And it's very important that we definitely tap into it. The more and more that I want to be like, is it really important to talk about mental health all month? The more my heart is like, yes, it is, because people are definitely going through things, and let's not front like they not, you know, like people are crying out for help, people are not getting help, people are put in positions where they don't even know, you know, how to get help, you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot, and we definitely going to tap into that today, and we may have a guest, we may not, we gonna see what's going on. But we're going to definitely give it up to our sponsors, Keys Royalty House of Love. And the house where love is the key. And we repair, we restore, and we rebuild from within. That's exactly what we do. That's what we focus on. So when people be like, how are you the love doctor and you ain't even in a relationship? And I was like, why do I need to be in a relationship to be the love doctor? Like, you don't be going to say that to the foot doctor, you know? But anyway, it's not about loving somebody else. It's about loving yourself. And a lot of people are not raised to love themselves. A lot of people are not taught to love themselves. A lot of people didn't receive love to even know what that looks like. So just because you may think you have it all together and things like that doesn't mean everybody else do. So that's what we're here for. And essential relationship coaching is to make sure that we reestablish the foundation of the love, and then we can reconstruct and rebuild, you know, because sometimes we do get lost, or, you know, or the foundation might get shaky. You know, it may not have been built on concrete. It might have been built on that red clay outside. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you have to definitely go back and rebuild and reconstruct some things, and that's okay. Sometimes you got to tear it all the way down to rebuild it so it can be stronger. And Keys Do Love Mommies nonprofit organization is creating a village of healthy parents empowering healthy children. It is so important that we have healthy children. I don't know how much I can put that out there into the universe, but the children are the future. They didn't make that song up for no reason, and they are the present as well. So we got to think about all of that. And we're always staying on beat with hair and makeup with Beauty on the Beat. So make sure you guys comment, love, share this. If you see it, share it, and then tell other people to share it. And if you want to join in the conversation, call in 702-551-5261. We'd love to hear from you. You already know this is a safe space. There is no judgment. Honesty is the policy, and always be respectful and keep it classy. Now, today is a little heavy, right? So it's a harder topic for people to talk about sometimes because it's something that they probably have experienced, dealt with, anything like that. So, or sometimes people don't want to talk about it because they just want to avoid certain topics, you know. So I'm going to just give a disclaimer, and we're going to put a trigger warning, and I should have did that for my shares, the ones that I did get out. But it's definitely a trigger warning, so, you know, come in with a light heart and a light head, and add on to the conversation. If you got something you need to say, something you feel, something that you've thought, something that you're feeling, I'm gonna go back to that. Anything, or somebody that you know personally that may be struggling, have them listen in, and maybe they need somebody to talk to too. So this is going to be it's a very serious topic, but it's very relevant, and we're going to talk about it because, and this is suicidal ideation, right? It needs to be discussed more than hushed. If we hush it, then it's like pushing it under the rug and all of this different stuff that we've done so much, especially in the Black and brown community. It's like, let's just hush it and let's not talk about it, and don't let other people know that our family isn't perfect and we having problems. We can't be hushing it because people are definitely going through some things. And also, due to it being Mental Health Awareness Month, we're going to talk about it because it's literally a silent killer. Okay? So, what we're going to do is we're going to definitely take a few minutes and pay some respect to those who have given up and become angels to our loved ones, because, you know, a lot of times you have those shoulda, coulda, wouldas. What should I said? What should I have done? You have all those different things, right? And you don't want to get to a place where you have to have these questions. So let's just, you know, give a few seconds and pay some respect to those who have lost the battle. All right, so suicide is a leading cause of death in United States. The leading cause of death in the United States. If this was my country, I would have a whole ass problem with that. Like, why are my people killing themselves at such a high number? You know what I'm saying? So, according to the CDC in 2021, 48,183 people died by suicide here in this country, only in this country. 12.3 million adults have serious thoughts about suicide. 3.5 million adults have made plans to commit suicide. 1.7 million have attempted to commit suicide. And this is all in 1 year. This is 2021. 12.3 million people have thought about it like, this shit is so rough, I should just not even exist anymore. You know, like, I should just end it right now, you know. And that's heavy. Those are heavy thoughts to have, you know. And it's like, to know that 1.7 million people have attempted it. They tried it, and it didn't work. So what type of long time effects is that providing, you know, for a human being out here? Now, this is the one that jumped out to me the most. Males, 22.8 to the 5.7 females. So males have a 22.8 percentage to the 5.7 percentage for females. What does that say? That's crazy. That's crazy. That means men are struggling. Oh my God, like that just melts my heart, because a lot of men definitely have this defense mechanism to where it's like, this is how I do things and this is what works for me. But it's like, is it a healthy way? Is it a healthy way? And a lot of us get stubborn like that. Like, no, like, I've been doing these things like this my whole life and da 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 da. Okay, but there is room for change, and change could be great, you know. Even if you change just a little bit at a little bit of a pace, you know what I'm saying, that you get to a place where it's like, okay, I can see where things are opening up for me in a way where it's not as hard as I thought it was going to be. But you know, you gave it baby steps. That's like anything else that you're afraid of. I mean, sometimes change is very, very scary to people. But the fact that I had a percentage to, first of all, I wrote this whole show and I lost it. We just gonna say that. So I had to come up with this stuff real quick, real fast. But there was another percentage for men, because I really wrote about the men for a cool minute, and I think I got back into it right here. Let's see. Suicide rate for males. Well, wait, I split it up. That's why I said most common used is a firearm, 55%. Suffocation is 26%. Poison, 12%. Other, 8%. But suicide rate for males is 4 times higher than the rate for females. And that makes up for 50% of the population, but nearly 80% of suicide. That is, man, men, I need y'all to come talk to me. We need a round table. We need to have a circle. And I'm talking about the men who think they all right. I ain't talking about somebody who's openly already going to seek therapy, or somebody who's seeing a coach or a counselor. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the ones that's doing all right. You doing all right? Come talk to me. So, because 80% of the whole, there's only 100%. So, out of all those millions of people and those 48,000 people, 80% of those were men. And it's almost like, what is pushing men to that breaking point? Is it the fact that they can't discuss, or they've been taught not to talk about their feelings and to suppress and do all these different things? That's very alarming, and that's very scary. So that just lets you know that men are definitely going through things, and they're suffering in silence, and it's killing them, literally. So we need to literally be as humanly kind to each other as possible, because you never know what everybody has in their invisible backpack. We all kind of carrying the same shit when you really think about it. But it costs you nothing to be kind to somebody. And people are right now, like, it's like everybody's in a trance and they losing their damn mind. And I was almost in there. I can't front. You know, the stresses of the world get to me too, you know. But it's just like sometimes you definitely have to check yourself and be like, okay, and whatever you need to do to get yourself together, which is for me, you know, it's got to be like prayer and meditation and deep breathing. All of that stuff really plays a part, you know, because life be life, and we know that. And the crazy part is life start lifing when you're young. We try to make it seem like these young kids ain't going through shit. These babies is going through shit. You hear me? And it looks a lot different than what it looked like with us. But yeah, so we will do a show, I think, specifically on men's mental health. And I feel like we did last year. For some reason, I'm gonna have to go through the show list and see. But if we haven't, I think I want to do a live show on men's mental health. Actually, I'm on a panel June 2nd with Solutions of Change, and it's based on men and mental health, and it's at Cork and Thorn at 6 p.m. So if you're available, and especially if you're a man, we're going to be in the building talking about that. And a shout out to Solution of Change and Angie for inviting me to be a part of something so powerful. I definitely appreciate that. And y'all know, like, healing people is my jam. So I'm going to do it. Somebody told me today that love is controversial. I picked a controversial field, right? Not telling me I picked it, but telling me that love is controversial. It makes me also feel like I picked a controversial field to be in. And then somebody told me before, they're like, you got your work cut out for you, because people are not trying to heal. People are this and they not that. And da-da-da-da-da-da. And you want people to love each other, and you want this and you want that. I'm like, yeah, I do. And I think it's possible. And I think it's possible. I know it's possible. And she's like, well, you got your work cut out for you. And I said, and do. And got work to do. And I'm just getting started. That's the whole crazy part. So, watch me work. And if you got anything to do with me, we all going to be loving on each other. I don't care what y'all say. But we're going to go ahead and get into the definition and define this thing. So suicide is the act of intentionally causing one's own death. And then ideation is the formation of ideas and concepts. So you're creating the ideas and the concept of causing your own death. And suicidal ideation together is the thought process of having ideas and ruminations about possibility of ending one's own life, ranging from thinking from one would be better off dead to formulation of elaborating plans. The DSM-5 defines it as thoughts of self-harm with deliberate consideration and planning of possible techniques in causing one's own death. And then the Center for Disease and Control and Prevention defines suicidal ideation as thinking about or considering or planning your suicide. So I did all three of them just on the simple strength of like they kind of worded them differently, but they're still the same. But they're places where people will look for information anyway, especially the DSM-5 is where, you know, a lot of people get their diagnosis from in the clinical world. So I just kind of wanted to, I don't know why I wanted to put all those in there, but I did. So there, of course, then we have passive suicidal ideation. And this is where you're thinking about not wanting to live or imagining being dead. Active suicidal ideation involves preparation to commit the suicide or forming a plan to do so. So if you're passive about it, you're just kind of thinking about it. But if you're active about it, you're kind of like making preparations to do that. And this conversation really, really, really is to help other people who don't understand someone who is possibly feeling like this. And also, of course, you know, so we can figure out how to help. That's really what this boils down to. Because if you have somebody that's a friend or whatever that is considering suicide, what if you don't know the warning signs? And they've been talking to you for months about it. We're going to talk about it. So according to Emil Durkheim, there are 4 different types of suicide, which are egoistic suicide, altruistic suicide, anomic suicide, and fatalistic. I don't know why those words are so difficult. Maybe because I wrote them too close together. But egoistic suicide is seen as stemming from the absence of a social integration. They receive little to no social care, so suicide seems as a solution for them to free themselves from loneliness or excessive individualization. So it's like the person who doesn't quite fit in over here, and I'm making this as an example, the person who doesn't quite fit in over there, you know, I don't really fit in with these people, but I really desire a social life. Like, okay, well, clearly I must don't fit in anywhere, so I might as well just not be here on this earth. Altruistic suicide occurs when social groups involved is too high. Individuals who are also well integrated into the group that they are willing to sacrifice their own life in order to fulfill some obligations for the group. So, of course, they gave the examples of everybody who drank the Kool-Aid, or people who will bomb something for the sake of their religion, you know, different things like that. They definitely gave some specific examples, but I didn't put those in here. So the other one is individuals kill themselves for collective belief of the group or for the cause of the group that they believe in. Okay, we read that. So anomic suicide is caused by the lack of social regulation, and it occurs during high levels of stress and frustration. Anomic suicide stems from sudden and unexpected changes in situations. I wonder if this one is really considered the highest. I wonder which one of these are higher than the other, and I think I'm going to have to look that up, because I think more so than other, of course, unexpected changes in situations happen so often that it's like it catches you off guard, gives you a 2-piece and some more shit, and you like, you ain't have to sneak me, you know, like you could have let me know that all this was about to happen. So I'm definitely intrigued with which one of those And if anybody's watching, if you want to look the stats up and put them in there for me, that would be dope. So let's get into some reasons why people may feel that taking their life is the only option. And there's so many different causes associated with SI. When doing my research, things tend to mention where basically like depression and mood disorder and mental disorders. But we forget that there are many, 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 many stressors that could possibly mess and rock your whole world up. You know what I'm saying? In the world that we living in, baby, it's a lot going on. So some people cannot cope as well as others. And we're going to just name a couple of those. And we got psychiatric disorders, of course. And those are like depression, mood disorders, anxiety, bipolar, PTSD. That's post-traumatic stress disorder. And that's very, very common in our community. A lot of people will have PTSD and don't even realize it. And I am a lot of people. It took for me to go to the gun range, and I was actually going to get certified. And I'm just like, the funny part about me is if I think I could do it, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try it. If it don't work, that's cool. And I might be nervous while I'm doing it, but I'm gonna go do it. So I went, and I was like, why is my bullets not on the target? And they were like, well, there's some over there in the rocks. There's some over here. There's some over there. And I'm like, well, why the hell is my bullets not going on there? And they were like, well, for starters, you closing your eyes. And I was like, what? And they're like, you close your eyes when you shoot and you flinch. And I was like, I didn't notice that I was closing my eyes. I thought I was just, doing my thing. He was like, every time the bullet goes off, the gun goes off, basically I was just flinching. And he was like, you're scared of the sound of the gun. So we had a whole real quick analyzation of me real quick, because I'm thinking like, why am I scared of the sound? Oh, okay. That makes perfect sense, because there is some PTSD there, and somebody that was there immediately remembered and understood what happened to make me clearly be afraid of the sound of the gun. So, you be dealing with things that are underneath the surface, and you really don't know that it's even a thing, That could be why, I have a sensory problem now, So, gender dysphoria and body dysmorphia. Those are two. And then, of course, you have your life experiences. And this one is really strong and real, because it can happen at any time, and you are not ready for it ever. Some things you try to prepare for in life, but most things you really can't prepare for. So, and trust that these are affecting these children on a daily basis. Heavier than you think they are, right? And most of these adversaries were created directly for us. And we became a product of our environment, not even knowing. We just out here innocent, trying to do our thing and live life. We thinking that we just making it because this is what world is. And you realize nah, fam, no. All of this shit here, alcohol disorder, drug use, unemployment, death of a family and friend, suicide of a family or a friend, unplanned pregnancies, bullying, cyberbullying, major key, work bullying. Why are you at work bullying people? Seriously, bro. I have been bullied at work, and I think this is a thing, and it's a trigger for me, because it's why are you bringing your toxic ass nature to this place where you're supposed to be trying to make money for your family? Because that's why I'm here. That's exactly why I'm here. You know what I mean? And you've had people, there's probably a lot of people that's listening right now. You've had somebody that was just that person at work that made work a living hell for no reason. And for no reason at all. And I don't know how those people sleep at night. Especially people who do things to deliberately get you fired. Yeah, I don't know how you sleep at night. They have military experiences on here as far as life experiences. I don't know. I might have added that. And family history, genetics is 7% of the offsprings. So 7% of the offsprings will genetically inherit your depression, your alcoholism, things like that. Of course, abuse, family violence, childhood and residential life instabilities. That's heavy as hell. We're going to talk about all that, though. Don't think we not. But social influences. I watched one of those murder shows, with the guy narrating. Even though those irritate the hell out of me, because he's like, it was a cold breezy September or some bullshit, and it never happened in their neighborhood type of shit. But there was this guy that met this girl online, and he was like very prominent he was a great football player, and his family loved him, and they had like a big family. It was just a lot of love. Of course, his family is telling the story, so they're showing pictures and they're showing how much of a great guy he was. And he started talking to this girl online, and she convinced him to do a love suicide with him. And they look at the last text messages that he sent, and he basically was telling her, like, I don't think that we should do this. Like, maybe we should try something different. We can try to, like, get help together. And she's like, no, this is the only way. And basically had him go to a park. And the mom was looking for him, too. The mom was like, he just left, and I didn't know why he left the house. And put carbon monoxide. And he sent that text. To her, and she told him to do it. She was like, just do it. And she did not do it. She did not hold up to her end of the bargain. And do you know this wench only got house arrest? I'm just saying. Coping mechanisms are so key, and it's not something that we're taught. And I think that is something that is missed, and I think it's something that needs to be implemented, because a lot of people don't know how to cope with things when they happen, when their world is kind of upside down and something different from what they're used to seeing. But coping with things that are hard, or sometimes that all we think should be easy, is not as simple as we may think it is. Guilt is a huge one. Not being able to forgive yourself for mistakes, or if you feel like you hurt your mom's feelings and you're like, gosh, it's better that I'm not even here, or caught cheating, or even if you lost somebody who did cheating, like, you just can't cope with it. But feeling like a burden. A lot of people feel like a burden, and the world would be better off without them. He said, I think the percentage of genetics is much higher than reported. I'm pretty sure, Janine, for facts. And, these, when you look these stats up, it'd be the first ones that come up. I even try to dig a little deeper and see who else saying what and what's different. And I look at different, statistics. But they were pretty across the board with these numbers. But empath is huge. I think this is one that gets overlooked a lot, and I could speak on this personally because I am a huge empath, and sometimes I wish I wasn't. But things that happen to other people are also heavy to you. Like, you feel it, because you care about other humans. You care about how they feel. Like, sometimes if I watch if I watch boxing in MMA, I'm okay. But if you send me like a real fight, even though I'm like, dang, they punching each other, whatever. But if you send me like a real fight with people out in the streets or whatever, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it at all. I don't want to see nobody getting hit. It's just like a whole thing for me. And I'd be like, why did you send me that? I don't watch that type of stuff. And I'm going to send it to me, and I'm going to report it. Because I don't understand why it's even being able to be shared. We've been taught to be so selfish and not really care about each other. It's actually kind of sickening, where you hear people like, not my problem, it ain't my, it's like, these are human beings that we talking about here. But people are learning just not to give a shit, and here I am, big ass empath. I want to fix everybody, and I don't know. That's a huge one. Social media and more external things are very huge. The influence that social media has is great. So I just seen an article, the Surgeon General, and I don't know how to say his name, but the Surgeon General just put out a statement about how social media is the leading cause to suicide for teens. And of course, like I said, I wrote the show, so I lost it. But I did see an article in New York Times yesterday. Just yesterday, it came out. Like the Surgeon General, the top whatever his name is, something with a K or something. I can't remember. It was hard to pronounce. But I'm like, wow. So the fact that social media is so powerful and we allow our kids to have it at such a young age and nobody's monitoring it. And I was watching The Social Dilemma. It's a documentary on Netflix, right? Hold on. It's a documentary on Netflix. And basically, it's the creators of social media that's coming to tell their story of the creation of social media and what it is now. They say social media apps foster dependency and addiction, and how their design nurtures addiction to maximize profit and manipulate people's views, emotions, and behaviors. The film also explores social media effects on mental health, particularly the adolescent and the rising teen suicide rate. The documentary features interviews with many of the former employees and major tech giants. While this film acknowledges social media's positive impact on the global scale, it also suggests that the collective lack of understanding about how these platforms actually operate has led to hidden and often harmful consequences to the society. If you watch that, it tells you exactly how the algorithm works. It captures, like, so my Facebook has my number. Facebook 123456789, right? So there's something or someone that's attached to your number. So when you say they put a dress on there that I like, or they put a wedding, because my algorithm, I swear to God, my algorithm, I see weddings, wedding dresses, babies in the ocean. And I'm like, what the hell type of combination is this? Especially with the babies, but I think they know that it's a happy thing. And obviously I have slowed down long enough to look at it that they keep pushing it forward. So when they count how many seconds you look at everything and everything. So if you're off of Facebook for too long, especially if you have your notifications on, they'll be like, where is number 123456789? They haven't been on there. Tell them that so-and-so made a post. Tell them that so-and-so's going live. Tell them, like, the algorithm is telling you this shit because you haven't been active. I was like, wow, it's crazy. But then they also have it like a real-time story with a person who's actually, like, experiencing it, and the algorithm is doing their thing too. So, sad to say that, oh, wait. Before I even get off of social media, hold it. I need you parents to know about this Benadryl TikTok challenge. It is killing these kids. Sunrise Hospital has already had 2 deaths and a couple almost fatalities. It's called the Benadryl challenge, and it's if you could take the most Benadryl and not go to sleep. I was like, did they even read what Benadryl does? It's crazy. So, very interesting. You guys, listen, tap into what your kids is doing, because people don't care about kids dying. They just want to make a new trend and a new fad. So, this is going on right now. But, sad to say, the biggest one is medication. Antidepressants, they are actually increased suicidal thoughts. So I come to you because I'm feeling, I'm just feeling kind of weird, feeling kind of down, not really having a lot of motivation, and I'm not a self-starter anymore, and I just need something to get me back on track, because I've had a lot of things go on. Okay, let me go ahead and give you this antidepressant. Y'all know I'm anti-medication, and I'm not scared to fucking say it to anybody, because I read the side effects. I'm like, bro, so you're going to give me this for a headache, but it's going to make my stomach turn into knots and diarrhea and this and that and that. So, majority of the antidepressants that I looked up actually increase the suicidal thoughts, and the motherfucking side effects ain't no joke. It says the Food and Drug Administration requires that all antidepressants carry the black box warning. That's it. The black box warning. That's it. So the strictest warning for the prescription is, in some cases, children, teenagers, and young adults under 25 may have an increase in suicidal thoughts and behaviors when taking antidepressants, especially in the first few weeks of starting and when you changes the doses. I'm gonna just get off of that because that's a trigger. That's a trigger. When you're going to see somebody about you and how you feel and the things that you're going through, if medication is for you, I get it. Just please do your research on the medication that they're being prescribed to you and see if these side effects are something that you can deal with and or tolerate. Because if you know that you're weak to suicidal thoughts and they give you medication that increases suicidal thoughts, what do you think is happening? What do we got going on here? It's not a solution. So it's no dig on somebody who may need medication, but I just want you to be educated on the medication that you're taking. Okay? So what are some warning signs? Sometimes you may not know that somebody's depressed even. You know, you could be around a person every single day and not know that something is wrong with you. And most times when something is wrong with you, the person that they know will ask the questions, they push away. So if you've ever been in a situation where a person has been they've been kind of depressed or whatever, and they push you away, you're like, what? Why are they pushing me away out of all people? But they pushing you away because they know you're the person who's going to be able to tell that something is wrong. So the warning signs that we think of sometimes is just listening. You know, if you're listening to what they're saying and maybe the words that they're saying, their body language is a little bit different, but listening to them can be their best support system. Sometimes they just might need to get it out and saying how they truly feel. But also listening is the warning signs will give you some signs of how they're truly feeling. If they start talking about suicide a lot, for example, making statements like, I'm going to kill myself. Sometimes they say that, or, you know what, I just wish I was dead, or I wish I wasn't born, or it's better, the world would be better without me, my parents would be better without me. Those are warning signs. And if they're feeling hopeless, like they just have all this hopelessness about them, like nothing is going to be up and up, like everything is negative, right? Sometimes it may look like rage, uncontrolled anger, seeking revenge, increased alcohol and drug use, saying that they're a burden, feeling guilty, can't forgive themselves for a mistake, getting the means to take their own life, like buying things like guns and stockpiling bullets and pills, and all of a sudden it's like, why are you buying all this gas, whatever. Withdrawing from their social contacts and wanting to be left alone. Like I said, sometimes people will push you away. Having mood swings, such as being emotionally high one day, deeply discouraged the next. Being preoccupied with death, dying, and violence. Feeling trapped or hopeless about a situation. Changing your normal routine, including eating or your sleeping patterns. Sometimes you may sleep a lot less. Sometimes you may sleep a lot more or none at all, Doing risky, self-destructive things like cutting, using drugs, driving reckless, driving drunk on purpose, taking pills and going to go drive, Giving away your belongings, getting your affairs in order, and with that, we'll just go ahead and flat out leaving a note. Saying goodbye to people as if they're not going to see them again. Developing personality changes or being severely anxious or agitated, particularly when experiencing someone that's having these warning signs listed above. That's kind of when you be like, okay, so you've been agitated, you've been this, you've been talking about death, you've been doing this. Like, let me tap into this person a little bit more. And another big one is, especially with the kids at the schools, is they're Googling ways to die. So luckily the school can flag those things and see this is what they're looking at. So Parents, please be in your kids' business. All the biz, what do you say? Biz naive. Be in their biz naive, because you got to check their social media. You got to check their inbox. You got to check, because a lot of times people are definitely influencing these kids to do things that they're not, and they're adults. You know, you think your kid talking to another kid, but some of these kids, they're I'm telling you, it's sad, and we have to help these babies. I'm gonna try to stay away from that one, because that one is a soft spot for me. So how can we be helpful? Of course, recognizing the warning signs. And if you think that a person is depressed, but you don't know, maybe look it up and see what the signs are. See if they're doing some of those things on there, and maybe talk to them about it. Offer empathy, not sympathy. It's a difference. You know, you don't want to make a person feel like, well, I understand what I understand what you're saying. I feel what you feel, and they're like, how? You know, you got to be careful with that. Take their suicidal statements seriously, and trust your instincts when they're talking to you. Trust your instincts when they're saying things to you. There's a 50 to 75% that all suicides give some warning of their intention to friends or family members. The imminent signs must be taken serious, because if you don't, then you'll be like, what did I miss? Why didn't they come talk to me? Why didn't they just say something? But all along, they probably said a lot of things, and us as humans, sometimes we just don't know how to recognize those things. You know, get involved and definitely be an active listener. This is key, because it allows that person to be able to like open up to you, and they feel like it's a safe space, and they can talk to you, or they can call you when they're in that dark space or that rut. They can give you a call and be like, okay, well, I do have somebody that I can talk to and not feel, judged or anything like that. And show genuine concern. Like, be concerned, like, for real. And show them that you're for real about your concern. Don't try to rationalize with them, and don't try to argue with them about what they feel, because sometimes you're like, you don't feel like that. That's really not that. I had somebody tell me that I told them that they didn't have a disorder, and I'm like, how could I tell you that? How could I possibly tell you that, and I don't even know you? But, people will make you the bad guy in situations like that. I've worked in this field a long time, so I've seen some things. I got some examples. I've actually had clients that succeeded, so this ain't just coming from textbook and research and all of that. Like, this is real shit. Be direct and ask questions regarding their intentions. It's not going to make them go faster or slower is what it says, but if the answer is yes, now you can start asking different questions like, okay, well, do you have a plan? How are you planning to do it? When are you planning to do it? Is there a time? Is there anything that I can do to help? Or, help them with a safety plan. Sometimes if you sit down with your family and write out a safety plan, actually for each other, like, what will we do if this happens? How can we be there for each other? Who is your support system? What do you do when you have these triggers? What are some things that you do to calm yourself down? What are some things you do to recenter yourself to realize that you're worth living for? So we're going to definitely talk about things that we should not do, because you don't want to do things, that can make things worse, right? Number one, I put on here, don't be judgmental. You can't judge somebody for how they're feeling and the things that they're going through, because for one, you're not going through it. So you have no idea what they're feeling, how they're feeling it. And either you're going to be their friend and be compassionate, but don't be judgy. That is not a good feeling. The person is already feeling a certain kind of way, and then for the person that I love and I decided to come and talk to, and you judge me, it's not a good feeling. Nobody wants to be judged whether you're suicidal or not. But just to think about a person who's at a place of no return, like, ending my life is the only option for me, and then you feel like you're being judged. No bueno. Don't debate whether suicide is right or wrong, or whether their feelings are good or bad. So it's almost like you don't want to lecture them about how they feel, or how they should be feeling, or how other people have it worse than them, or what they're going through isn't that bad. Comparing them to, well, look at this person, they're not even, they don't have this. All these things, material things, don't mean nothing. And I don't know when people were going to learn that, but I learned that a long time ago, and material things means absolutely nothing, because they come and they go, just like humans. But in this case, you don't want the human to end their life, because that's, people need to know that it's worth living for. Don't dare someone to do it, right? Don't say things like, well, if you were going to kill yourself, you would have already did it. Like, can you imagine the pushback? Like, oh my God, that is so deep. Like, well, I dare you to do it. Kind of like that girl on that show that I watched. She talked, they showed all the text messages, so she pumped him up to doing it, and then she backed out. Never promise to keep the suicide a secret. Ultimately, you want to help them seek help immediately, right? You try to do your research and find help for them. They do their research. If they don't want to, you still can be very proactive in helping them get some help and some resources and the support that they need to feel better. Offer hope that alternatives are available, but don't offer a glimpse of reassurance like this is gonna work, like this is gonna work, this gonna help you out, but let them know that there's a bunch of alternatives to be able to help. So if one thing don't work, we could try something else. Don't try to be their counselor, especially if you don't have a degree. Allow them to seek professional help, and as soon as possible, because you never know if the suicidal ideation is to a place where they might possibly need to be hospitalized, where they just need to go somewhere to keep them safe for 72 hours or however long it takes. Don't pretend that you have all the answers either. And that one is big, because you want to be very helpful. You want to be very supportive to them and get this thing right so that they can live a healthy, happy life. But it's okay to know, like, I don't know that. It's okay to say, I don't know that. Let's look it up. Let's figure it out together. That's another one. That's the next one, is just basically, don't be afraid of being wrong. Like, I'm not 100% on something. It's difficult for even the experts to understand everything a person is feeling, especially like within a couple of sessions. They don't know the risk of suicide and how high it is, how low it is, how intense it is. So these are professional people who went to school for this, but they don't always get it right either, because many of the warning signs of suicide could also indicate problems with drugs or alcohol abuse, domestic violence, depression, and other mental illnesses, which we still need professional intervention for with all of those, So I was wondering how transparent I was going to be today, and maybe this is probably why, especially when I see children to a place of suffering, and the only alternative for them is to go ahead and just end their life, and it's like, you only had like 10 years or 15 years or, very, very small amount of life to realize that these things that you're going through right now are probably tough, but they're transitional too, and there's nothing that you can't get through, but every time it's not always a mental illness, or sometimes it's just you really want the person who you love the most to pay some attention to what you're trying to say to them, so therefore you think that this attempt will wake them up, right? And this is my own story. Everybody keeps telling me, like, you need to tell your story, like you have a testimony, you have a story, and I do. And I haven't talked about this story very much. But when I was younger, my mom just thought that I was just boy crazy, right? And she's like, you know, you with those boys and you hanging out with those boys. And I'm like, I'm not even thinking about boys at this point. You know, like, we probably thinking about them, but we definitely wasn't thinking about doing anything. We wasn't thinking about doing anything, sexual or anything like that. And at this particular time, my mom was on drugs, and I had written her a letter. And I wrote her a letter, and I talked about, like, what if one of us died before we got our relationship right? And I'm only like, let me think. I'm probably only about 14, 15. I'm not quite 16 yet, I don't think. So I'm like 14, 15, or in between, whatever. And I wrote her this letter, and I was just like, these are the reasons why I want you to get off drugs. And I was very detailed. I was very vocal about how I felt. And I was also vocal about things that had happened. And I was like, these things probably wouldn't happen if, this wasn't happening or whatever. And gave her the letter. And honestly, we sat down and we talked about the letter. And, I don't know if she just, like, disregarded the fuck out of me or what. And I believe this particular time, like, I started crying. And I didn't even, I wasn't crying because I was hurt. I was crying because I really wanted her to get the message. I really wanted her to get better. I really wanted her to be healthy. It was something obviously I thought I could die for. It's for my mom to get better, So as I got older, that's why I realized it was a trigger for me for people to be like, well, you should try this. And I'd be thinking, you don't know what I've tried. So you can't talk about what I should do, So sometimes be mindful when you tell people what they should be doing. But and I just remember her specifically telling me to suck my tears up, basically, quit acting like a bitch, basically. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, it's the only way for her to get it, for her to understand what I'm saying in this letter. This is the only way. And the crazy part is, that's why I was like, that's crazy as hell that it's a Benadryl challenge, is because I took a whole pack of Benadryl. And mind you, I never took naps, still don't take naps. So it took for my brother to be like, something is wrong with this girl. And my mom was like, she's probably pregnant. She's probably out there fucking. And I could, at this point, this is like day 3. So I could hear all of this, but I'm still I don't know, sleep, comatose. I don't know. they never even took me to the fucking doctor. But I literally slept for 3 days, and I never take naps. So it took for my brother to be like, she still sleep? Something is wrong. So sometimes when people are reaching out to you and they're saying how they feel, you have to take that shit serious. So now when things are a lot more serious now, and you see all these pressures of the world, we have to be kind to each other. We have to pay attention to our family members. We have to tap into their mental health. We have to check their heart, check their temperature. Just see how people are doing. And sometimes people are so adjusted to saying, I'm good, I'm okay. But it's like, no, how are you feeling? I'm learning to ask people, how do you feel? Give me feel words. Because if you're feeling away, I'm here for you. And I'm here to talk to you. Because I know sometimes life gets hard. So for everybody out there who might be dealing with something, there are resources. You can dial 988. You can text 741-741. You could call 911. For the youth, there's the mobile crisis hotline, which is 702-486-7865. Also, seek some type of therapy. Seek some type of counseling and talk to somebody about how you're feeling, because having a good conversation sometimes can help you decipher everything that's going on. So everybody who may be going through something, I love y'all, and take care, and make sure you have a healthy week. All right?